Hi everybody, it's Bert from Seasoned Gaming, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different, more of an FYI video to kind of talk about the membership programs that you can sign up for when you're buying games. I'm joined as usual by Ains, like we do in our Bitcast, and today he's going to talk about programs, I'm going to talk about programs, and we're going to kind of go back and forth. The three main programs that we're going to talk about today are the Amazon Prime membership that you can sign up for, the Gamestop Gamers Pro and other type of memberships that they have, and the Best Buy program. And so when we talk about them in detail, we'll talk about the names for each one, as there's different tiers for certain ones, how much they cost, the pros and cons, and simply an FYI to let you know what works best for you. So I'm going to kick it over to Ains. He's going to start out with our first one, which is Amazon Prime. Ains, what you got?
Yeah, hi everyone. So Amazon Prime is best known now, for gamers anyway, as being one of the best routes for saving money on pre-orders. However, there's been some changes to the program in the past couple of years that make it not quite as beneficial as it used to be. So with Amazon, you pay $12.99 a month to be a Prime member, or $99 a year. And as we know, the Prime membership comes with Prime Video and a lot of other benefits like free 2-day shipping, for your entire account, so it's a little bit different there. But relating strictly to video games, it gives you 20% off of pre-orders of all games. It used to give you 20% off up to 2 weeks after a game release. That is no longer true. It is only pre-orders now. And it also used to apply to collector's editions and certain special editions. It doesn't do that anymore either. So right now it's just 20% off of your basic games if you pre-order. As usual, Amazon, like Gamestop and others, also have some pre-order bonuses. Sometimes they have unique ones depending on the game. A few other things that are included as well. So Amazon has bought Twitch, if you weren't aware. And because they now own Twitch, there's a membership, or a partnership I should say, where sometimes if you are a Twitch member, or you log into Twitch, you'll get some bonus loot for specific games as well. So for instance, Hi-Res just offered some free chests in the Paladins and Smite games. They've had things for Overwatch and several other games that you may or may not play. You also get free release day shipping with Amazon. So if you pre-order a game, it'll arrive at your door on the day it releases. There have been, including myself lately, some complications for some people with this. We think Amazon has just grown so big and are shipping so many items that there's a small percentage that either get lost or come after release day, which can be problematic. And of course, because it's online only, there's obviously no store pickup, option on Amazon. Lastly, the last benefit is that they also offer 5% additional off if you have the Amazon credit card. Other credit card companies like Discover and Chase also do some 5% back off the games at specific times of the year. Just for reference, Amazon does not price match, and they also only charge once the items ship. So you can pre-order something months in advance, and you will only get charged on the day or two before it ships for you on release day. So I think that covers the overall Amazon lookout. So Bert, do you want to talk to us about Best Buy?
Yeah, so Best Buy has come a long way when it comes to games and gamers as far as membership. So they do have a new program, and I'm actually going to read some of my notes here because they've kind of gotten massive. So first of all, Best Buy does have their normal rewards membership, which doesn't cost you anything. You get points, and you can add that towards a purchase in the future. But if you're a gamer and you're looking to actually buy a game, something you might want to consider is the Best Buy Gamers Club Unlocked membership. Now, this is newer. In the past, they used to give you pre-order coupons if you did something. There really wasn't something specific, but when they wanted to compete with other things, you do have the membership now that you can actually get. And so Gamers Club, which is simply the rewards program like I was talking about, is free. That doesn't cost you anything. You just get benefits for certain games. You can get some coupons back, which I'll talk about in a second. But the one that you do want to get if you're a little bit more aggressive with games is the Gamers Club Unlocked. And this is $30 for 2 years. So you're looking at about $15 a year. You also get the Unlocked membership feature, which is 20% off all new games and existing games. So you don't have to pre-order anything to get this membership for this discount for 20% back. You can buy something 2 weeks after release, or even all existing software, which is nice. If you're trading in stuff, in case you didn't know, Best Buy does allow you to trade in stuff as well. You get 10% back with the Unlocked. You get 10% off pre-owned games. So when you go to your store, not just online, you'll notice that Best Buy has a little section for used games. They're kind of just shrink wrap with a little tag on the front. They're pretty competitive with how much they go for, but not the cheapest by far. So keep that in mind. As an unlocked member, you also get 2 times points. So going back to that free membership, all your points do add up for future purchases. You get 2 times points. And this is for software, digital content, and games accessories. So some of the other retailers that we're going to talk about does not give you that discount and additional amount for other stuff outside of just the software, which is pretty nice. You also get a unlocked welcome coupon, so that'll take an additional percentage off your future purchase, which is pretty nice. It's all handled on their interface online, which I'll be showing here as I'm going through it. They have a pretty good interface for stuff. Something else, guys, you do get the reward certificates. So like I was talking about a second ago, they do now select specific games where you get $10 back on a reward certificate that you can actually use for anything at Best Buy, not just for games. And they do choose those games now. In the past, any big title that came through, you would get that $10 back. Now it's specific games. So we're shooting this in February of 2018. The current game that they're doing that $10 back for is a pre-order of Far Cry 5, so that's kind of nice for that. Other stuff you get is you get specific pre-order bonuses that you can get there. Sometimes they'll give you a steelbook, which is pretty nice. A thing that Ains mentioned about Amazon that you don't get anymore is a 20% off collector's edition. So if you're buying that big box with the statue, whatever it's coming from, you do get 20% off that as well, which is something retailers aren't doing that much anymore. Something else that's pretty cool about Best Buy in general is they do price match off Amazon, as we're talking about now. Some other websites that they do price match for, and by the way, when I'm talking about Amazon, it has to be sold and fulfilled by Amazon. It can't be just another seller there. But you have bhphotovideo.com, crutchfield.com, dell.com, hp.com, Newegg, Tiger Direct, and other local retailers that may be specific to your Best Buy. So that's if you're doing that in person, you just simply show a picture, or you show the phone. They literally will change the price of the item right there in person for you. One last thing about Best Buy, which is slightly different when you're purchasing from them, is that they will charge your card an authorization. They don't actually fully charge your card until it ships. So some good information from Best Buy there. Once again, they have a free program and a pay-for program. And that's it for Best Buy. Ains, you're going to talk to us about Gamestop?
Yeah, so Gamestop, I think we're all familiar with, been around a long time, and obviously they're pretty famous for their trade-in values and trade-in offers. They've gotten a little more confusing over the past year because they added a third membership option, and some of the way they handle points and bonuses is a little less, or a little more confusing, excuse me, than the others. So let me just break these down for you. First up, you can be a free member at GameStop, and all that does really is it gives you 10 points for every dollar you spend. You can be on their email notification list if you want to be sure you're up to date on the latest sales or offers. And they'll do, time specials at certain points of the year as well. It does not include things like the Game Informer magazine, extra trading credit, or anything of that nature. The first membership that you pay for with GameStop is what they call the Pro membership. This is the one you're likely familiar with. It's been around a very long time. It's $15 annually. It includes a copy of Game Informer, which you can now get in paperback or digital form. On top of that, it gives you 20 points per dollar spent rather than the 10 for the free account. It also gives you 10% bonus dollars on your trade-in value. So if you're trading in systems or games frequently, it'll give you 10% bonus on that. They also have what they call Pro Days now, which are specific days with specific sales on games, which are only for Pro members. So they may do like a Pro weekend, for instance, where some specific titles will be, 20, 30, 50% off, what have you. And so GameStop, while it doesn't offer the same value as most of the other places like Amazon and Best Buy, you can find some good deals from time to time there on those Pro Days. Lastly, for Pro members as well, like I said, GameStop is now the owner of ThinkGeek, and they've expanded into collectibles over the past few years. So as part of being a Pro member, they will also give you rebates and discounts sometimes on collectibles. So if you're someone who likes to collect the pop figures or statues or shirts or anything else that's kind of video game related that's sold under that GameStop/ThinkGeek banner, you can find some better deals there as well. Now the new membership option they added just this last year is called the Elite Pro. And essentially what it is it just kind of doubles down on all the benefits of the Pro membership. So if you're a frequent game buyer, you buy a lot of games, especially if you buy a lot of games from Gamestop, it's likely worth it. So instead of $15 a year, it's $30 a year. However, you do get 30 points for every dollar spent. You do get free shipping on any order over $35 from GameStop.com. So if you're someone who likes to order some of the bigger things or collectibles, like I said, free shipping can certainly add up on all those things over time. And of course, you still get all the same benefits as the normal Pro membership. So your Pro Days, a Game Informer magazine, what have you. The only other things to mention here is GameStop does not price match. And they also do not charge until you ship, just like the others. So if you pre-order something on GameStop, you won't get charged until that gets sent out to you. So I think that about covers it for GameStop.
Great, thanks, Ains. And one of the things we did want to talk about is the pros and cons for each one. So we're going to jump back to Amazon Prime membership, which is once again not specific to just games, but you get the big umbrella of Amazon as well. But we're going to talk about kind of some of our experiences that have been really positive and some stuff that's been really negative. And Amazon, as Ains was mentioning, has gotten really big, and their game stuff has changed a lot throughout the past couple of years, including now. So let's briefly talk about the pros. So Ains, why don't you talk pros and I'll talk cons for Amazon.
Yeah, so Amazon used to be my go-to. Between the 5% cashback through credit card companies, in addition to the 20% pre-order bonus, it was just a great place to go to for your games because you got release day shipping. They were very, very consistent. They almost never had any issues. It used to apply to collector's editions. It used to apply to games that had already launched for 2 weeks. And so for probably the past couple years, I really used Amazon for a big percentage of my game buying. However, I would say over the past probably 12 to 18 months, things have changed quite a bit. So I buy a lot of collector's editions, in case you couldn't tell here. And so that 20% off that disappeared for collector's edition is pretty substantial. You imagine if you buy, you know, $300, $400, $550 CEs per year, that 20% can add up. In addition to that, it was really nice when you could, you know, if you weren't sure about a game's launch, you wanted to check out reviews first or something of that nature, it was nice that you could still get that 20% off, say, a week after launch, but they did away with that as well. And then lastly, I'm probably the latest example of this, but Amazon has struggled at times lately with some of their pre-orders. So they were very well known for their kind of screw-ups, if you will, with the Super Nintendo Classic. A lot of people who pre-ordered it and were supposed to get it on day one either didn't get it, you know, till weeks later or didn't get it at all. And so they've had that kind of happen with several big ticket items lately. And then they've also, you know, kind of struggled with release date delivery. There's been several times lately where I haven't received my game on release day like I was supposed to. And the worst example of this is just this past week, which I talked about on our Bitcast. But that is, I ordered the Shadow of Colossus Special Edition, and they lost it completely, and it can now not be replaced. So as a collector of games, that's very, very disappointing.
Yeah, so Amazon's been kind of hit and miss for me. I think a lot of Amazon kind of depends where you are geographically. So if you are close to maybe a distribution center or you have a good city that is shipping really well with Amazon. I live in Austin specifically, so we have a really good shipping areas for Amazon. They have their own delivery trucks that come around. It really depends on where you are. I personally have missed about 4 different games that never got delivered to me, got lost in the mail, whatever it is, kind of like Ains's recent Shadow of Colossus issue. But one thing I can say that's kind of a good thing about Amazon is their customer service is pretty good. Most of the time you don't have to argue too much with them. You don't have to fight for a refund or fight for the fact that you paid for, with your Prime membership, you paid for that same day delivery. So it's really interesting how they have had to kind of cover those customer service issues, and I really enjoy dealing with them. However, with video game stuff, I've kind of moved on to other retailers for that stuff because of the discounts are kind of gone, and it's harder to know if you're going to get that on the same day delivery that it releases. So kind of hit and miss for me. I think it really depends on you. Maybe you're the type of gamer that has never had any issues with Amazon. I think Ains and I used to be that customer, but as of late, it's been a little harder to deal with them with video game releases. So that's kind of our pros and cons for Amazon. I'm briefly going to jump over to Best Buy and talk about what I like about it, and then Ains will kind of talk about the negatives of Best Buy if you find it as a negative. Once again, depends on you. So let me talk briefly about Best Buy rewards programs, and this is once again their Gamers Club program if you have paid for that. So you, first of all, Best Buy is going to be hit and miss for you. If you have a Best Buy store, a brick and mortar store near you, Best Buy may be one of the best things because you can actually pre-order the item, it'll ship it to the store, you can pick it up on that same day. If you are near a Best Buy and you would just want to get the latest, I don't know, let's say Call of Duty, for example, you can buy it online and they will actually let you know when it's available at the front desk. You have a reserved parking spot, and there's a few of them at the front of the store where you just come right in. It's waiting at the counter for you. You show an ID, you pick it up, and you're right out the door. So there's none of the wait in line stuff or anything along those lines. So I've really liked it for that too. If you're into collectibles at all, so we always joke about me being a amiibo collector. That is not a video game, obviously, but it is a video game collectible or an accessory or something like a controller. You get discounts on that stuff too. So it really works out really well from a money perspective, depending on how many things you're buying. It's only $30 for every 2 years. So you're spending the same amount that you do at GameStop for 2 years for the basic membership at GameStop. They also price match everything, as I mentioned before. So if you find a great deal on Amazon, you take that in, you get the same price that Amazon is selling it for. So I've had a really positive experience with Best Buy. I literally have not had any issues with them whatsoever, even on pre-orders. As I did mention before, if you are pre-ordering, you can definitely pre-order. They will authorize your card, but they will not charge you the full amount on your card until it ships. So it works really well for that. Like I mentioned earlier, I was showing the website as far as their UI, as far as how it navigates and how it works. But the fact that you can order online, pick it up in store, depending if you have one near you, I've really liked it. So, Ains, what are some negatives about the Gamers Club Unlocked?
Yeah, it's hard to find too many negatives on Best Buy's membership now because they've really stepped it up these past couple years. I was never a huge fan of Best Buy, but they've kind of won me over at this point, especially with the issues I've had with Amazon. That said, there are a few things to be aware of. So if, as Bert mentioned, if you don't have a Best Buy brick and mortar store somewhere, you know, in the vicinity to where you live, it can be a little more difficult. For instance, they don't offer release day shipping for free. So if you pre-order online, you can get it that week, but it'll likely be a couple days after release. They also, I've had my struggles with Best Buy in terms of the stores themselves. So just if recently, past few months actually, 125 locations, I believe it was, of Best Buy have shut down, and they've faced some struggles of their own. So if it may be that one of those stores was local to you and you now don't have one really close to you, but I can find at times that the people at Best Buy can be kind of, how do I want to say this nicely, uninformed. So sometimes, you know, if you need to go in there and ask about a collectible or ask about a specific game, you usually run into people who really don't know what they're talking about. If you do like Bert said, and you pre-order and they just have it waiting for you, it's really simple. You just walk in, show your ID, as Bert said. But if you do go in there kind of on an off chance just looking for something, it can be rather problematic at times. Other than that, I really don't have a lot of complaints about Best Buy. As you said, it includes collectibles at 20% off. It includes games that have already been released as well. And it includes collector's editions. So when you add all those things up, in terms of value, I think Best Buy is probably the best bet right now.
Would you say it's the best buy at the moment?
Oh my God.
But yeah, I'm kind of with Ains, and before we jump over to GameStop really quick, I went on just the off day to kind of see what they had on sale, and I did ask one of their, I guess they call them associates at Best Buy or whatever, if they had a specific collector's edition in stock, because it was there a few days before, and I went back in to see if it was still there, and it wasn't on the shelf. Well, sure enough, the guy had no idea what I was talking about. He didn't even attempt to go get his scanning system to find if they had it in stock. And so I just figured it had sold, and he goes, yeah, I haven't seen it in a few days. And that was kind of it. I was kind of like, all right, that's pretty much it. Came back a couple days later for a pre-order to pick up, and the same item that I saw before was on the shelf this time. Thankfully, I was able to pick it up, but, you know, kind of hit and miss. But whatever on that one. It is what it is. Retail is kind of different. Best Buy is losing stores for a reason, but I have no idea what's going to happen if the brick and mortars go away, if it's going to turn into an online store. But I don't know. I've enjoyed it so far. Ains, you want to talk about the pros of GameStop, and then I'll kind of come back on the negatives?
Yeah, so GameStop, you know, it's really about the pros, or if you want to trade in and take advantage of those deals. I know they often get mocked for their trade-in values, and some of those values can be horrendous. But at the same time, they do have deals on those trade-ins sometimes that can be very, very beneficial. I think for anyone who took advantage of it, they'll remember just several months ago, GameStop did if you trade in 6 games or more, they give you a 60% bonus on top of your Pro membership. So you get 20% trade-in as an Elite Pro, and then they give you another 60% on top of that. I think I traded in like 8 games, and I got something like $480. I mean, I essentially paid off my Xbox One X with just some newer games. In a lot of cases, they were giving values that were worth almost more than you could buy the game for used. So if you take advantage of those things, it can be beneficial. And remember, every transaction you make with GameStop, you get points as well. Now, those points are really not too valuable. I've been around a long time, like I said, by a ton of games, and so I have tens and tens and tens of thousands of points there. But to give you some perspective here, you need 25,000 points to get a $25 certificate to use in the store on whatever you want. Doing the math, if you wanted to try and get 25,000 points, you would need to spend around $800. So that just kind of gives you an idea. There's really not a huge discount on those points. That said, you can use those certificates on collectibles and shirts, amiibos, you know, for Bird, of course, or any other thing that, you know, ThinkGeek and GameStop sell now. Other than that, I still like Game Informer. It's not a, you know, tremendous magazine by any stretch. Still think the best video game magazines come out of the UK. But it's not bad, and I think they do some good work, and I like some of the covers they have. Other than that, you know, I think that's about it. They don't do any pre-order bonuses. They don't do price matching. So if you're a person that likes to pre-order a lot of games, or especially buy a lot of games brand new on release day, GameStop's probably not your best option.
Yeah, so for me, coming in on the negative side, I've actually stepped away from GameStop quite a bit, unless a specific game is coming out exclusively at GameStop that you can only get there in physical form. I will do that, or maybe a collector's edition. The biggest things I have with GameStop as a retailer is the sell your customers over and over and over. When I get in there, I may just want to get a game. I don't want to hear about the membership. I don't want to hear about the warranty on the disc. I don't want to hear about, you know, here's how many rewards you have, or that my membership is canceling in the next 2 months or something. I think retailers kind of push that too much, and I think customers are kind of getting kind of sick of it, but you know, that is their model. To your joke earlier, Ains, I do think that the used values for a lot of games are kind of laughable at this point, but at the same time, they do kind of have like an algorithm on how many games they have in stock, and maybe they have too many of one, so they're not going to give you some. Kind of funny enough, I traded in a ton of my old 360 games years ago, and there's some games that, looking back at that receipt, I think I got like a quarter for a couple of them. But that's kind of the game with software. Some of it's not worth anything, and they're taking that risk and having to sell it and keep it on their shelves for as long as that goes. I have had a few issues online with pre-ordering with them. Funny enough, the Monster Hunter Collector's Edition, I had it pre-ordered, I think within 2 minutes of it going on sale. I think a month later, I was notified that there was an issue with my credit card or something. I went and followed up with my credit card. The authorization was still sitting on my credit card. They ended up canceling my pre-order without even telling me. I went in to kind of just see what was going on with it, and it had been canceled due to issues with payments. And I took a screenshot of my credit card at the authorization there. I sent it in, and they go, sorry, we've already sold out of all our pre-orders. So I was kind of upset about that, but at the same time, kind of is what it is. I would say that their customer service is very hit and miss. I know that some of the customer service managers on sites are great. At the same time, I've had some really negative experiences with them, with not wanting to help out in any form whatsoever. So, like I said, I've stayed away from GameStop. I've also heard some horror stories about working at GameStop. You can just type in why I don't work at GameStop anymore online on YouTube, and the stuff is insane as to what happens there. So, hit and miss. Once again, we just wanted to kind of give you a pro and a con of each one of these retailers. We're going to kind of wrap up our video with what we think is best for what we consider a casual gamer, someone that rarely buys games, maybe 3 or 4 titles a year, versus someone that buys maybe 3 or 4 games a month, if not more than that. So Ains, kind of closing out, what are your final thoughts on these 3 big retailers on that topic, you know, casual versus hardcore?
Yeah, honestly, kind of talking through these 3 and thinking about how I buy games, but also how someone like maybe my son or other people may buy games, I have a hard time at this point saying that there's a better option than Best Buy. You know, it's $30, but it's 2 years. So I think even if you buy just a handful of games, you're going to get that savings back, you know, tenfold. Just because 20% off of every game, if you just buy, say, 5 games in a 2-year span, that's $60 right there. It's more than, you know, it's doubled its value for you. When you add in the fact that, you know, Best Buy does a lot of other things, like you said, the $10 certificates. They also give you 20% off of all games, whether or not they're new or pre-orders, and you also get 20% off of gaming collectibles. It's kind of hard to argue against them. The only thing I will say is that as a membership service, Amazon does obviously offer Prime. There are probably tens or even who knows how many tens of millions of people who are Prime members who aren't necessarily gamers. They do it for, you know, other products, the 2-day shipping, the Prime Video. And so if you're already just a Prime member and you're a casual gamer who only plays a handful of games, you might as well just pre-order the ones you want, whether it's Call of Duty or what have you, because you're going to get that 20% off anyway. Release day delivery, even if they miss it, is probably not a huge deal to you, and you're not paying anything extra out of pocket for that service. GameStop's a tough one. There's really not a huge benefit there. The only time I see GameStop really come into value is when, like I said, they have those special trade-in days, and people are, say, you know, who may not know much about video game systems, or want to trade in, like, say, an Xbox 360 when you're moving to an Xbox One or PS4, and they have a whole bunch of games laying around they're never going to do anything with. It's kind of the quick and efficient and easy way to just offload all of those items, get some money for it that you may not have expected, so that you can upgrade. You know, we see that quite a bit with GameStop. That's a big chunk of their business. But unless you're doing that, I would certainly say take advantage of your existing Prime membership. But if you're a gamer now, I say I think you should be taking a look at Best Buy. It just seems like the best all-around option.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Ains on almost every single point he had. The only thing I'm going to add on it is if you're a casual gamer, if you don't care if your game is new or used, and you are going to buy that basic GameStop membership, buying those used games and for those coupons really will actually save you quite a bit of money if you don't care about launch days. If you're more of a hardcore gamer and you do want to have that game new within the weekend or a couple weeks, it's really hard to pass on the Best Buy Gamers Unlocked program. So take a look at it. On our website, we're going to be having kind of like a graph showing what each membership has and doesn't have. It's going to be really funny when you see all the check boxes that the Best Buy Gamers Unlocked program has compared to the other two programs. Now, to Ains' point, it's really hard to argue that Amazon Prime as a whole membership doesn't have a lot of value. And if you're the type of person that buys a lot of stuff from Amazon, once again, to Ains' point, just do the pre-order on there when you want. Now, the only negative is that when you miss that pre-order window, you're not getting any extra savings down the road from Amazon. You're just going to buy that game. Now, their games do go on sale from time to time. They do have some Amazon Prime Day daily deals, something you might want to catch there. But even then, you are going to get the same, if not better, deal at GameStop or Best Buy. So once again, totally objective. It's really going to come down to what works for you as a consumer. We hope you got some information from us on what might be the best program for you. If you have something else that maybe we didn't even cover, maybe a different program that we're not aware of that is as big as these, please leave it in our comments. We want to know what you're doing, what you're not doing, what you prefer. So thanks again for listening in, guys, and thanks for watching.